What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we are giving you a state of the market and stock picks for March 31st, 2022. So if that sounds like something you're interested in to get you prepared for the day and week ahead, consider subscribing. State of the market, there is not much going on. We're still getting a lot of mixed signals out of Russia and Ukraine, peace talks, essentially Ukraine talking about that they're willing to let some things go in negotiation. Again, you cannot tell what is fact or fiction, but nonetheless, it is still ongoing. That situation we won't really see that situation really affect the market until we start getting to earnings, which is just around the corner. And that is kind of what we're aiming for at this point. Yes, we do have the Fed behind that, but and they've been very hawkish. They've been on the mic a lot lately, talking about these massive rate raises that they want to have by the end of the year. Everybody's pretty much very hawkish in their statement. So that's fine and dandy, but the market is used to rate raises. So being said, the state of the market is in good shape when you look at it as the fact that there hasn't been new news in a while. Everything that's been put out there is almost like recycled news. We know what's going on. There's nothing out of the left field, and that's what matters. And so the market continues to run. Now, technical wise on SPX, we broke through some really tough resistance and we retested it. We essentially gapped over and retested it today. Now we're going to continue up and go back to all-time highs. We are going into earnings, and I think it could fuel that pretty easily. But we have to be careful. We have to see if that's the case or not. But nonetheless, we're very strong. I mean, we've been really fighting for this past day or so, trying to get up. We've been kind of chopping on the way up. Again, rotation has come from tech to value, financials, and then it rotates. It's been rotating very quickly. Something, if you haven't noticed, the rotations have been very quickly. And what I mean by that is the rotations come in the morning. Value and banks will typically push in the morning, at least for that first hour. And it almost seems like it rotates back into tech really fast. And it's a very interesting rotation that's happening very fast as far as the quickness of the rotation. Being said, SPX is still looking strong. Try to sell today. Again, wick back up and is holding. If it breaks this, I'm kind of really watching this level, this 46K mark tomorrow. If it does break below that tomorrow, I'm kind of looking to see if we can get back down and try to retest some of these levels. Again, at this point, maybe the best retest we get is 45.35. And maybe that's as far as we go. Again, we don't really want to break back too far below this wick or below this support. If we do, we definitely will have to wick to be able to continue up this parabolic move. I mean, even if you try to do a Fibonacci retracement on this thing, it still has us down. You could even hit a 50% at essentially that 44K mark. Would be a 50% retracement. I don't think we'll pull that far back unless there's some major news that comes out again that is new. But right now the market is very strong. So I want to see if this breaks or holds. Do we fill this gap and head back down and try to hit some of those levels? Again, 4,400 mark would be just fine. I think it would be enough because we are end of month tomorrow as well. We might actually see some selling. How much is really what's going to depend. But we do have a higher high set. So if this is we do have a higher high here and a higher high there. So we're starting to break out to some new levels. We're reversing, but we like a little bit of a pullback. I've been talking about this for a couple of days, and obviously we've been kind of just going straight up. So I think tomorrow's going to be really critical on where we open. I think if we could get one more pullback before earnings starting next month, then I think that would be great. That would lead us straight into earnings and push us back to all-time highs. Again, unless something unforeseen happens, we know the rates are coming. Again, I think it's just going to bring volatility at this point. I really don't think it's going to do much more than that. Yes, the world can be a terrible place, but it is not the stock market. So As far as we can look at Bitcoin really quick. Bitcoin's still looking really good. Still got a big bull flag on the daily. Again, I think Bitcoin likes to move on the weekend. I think Bitcoin's going to go parabolic this weekend. And so coin is definitely one I want to keep on watch going into this weekend, although it's already made a pretty big move to this point. Tesla is another big one. I keep talking about this, and I know it's a really high. I really like it back down on a 1K before going into earnings. I think big tech will probably be towards the end of the month of April or beginning of May. So being said, if we can like backfill some of this back to the 1K mark, that'd be fantastic. But we really have to see how it's going to play out. If you look on the 4-hour, I tried to play this today. I captured this particular move. Are we going to continue up tomorrow? It's really interesting. Tesla doesn't want to break this 1082 mark. If we got car numbers that are supposed to be coming out some point this week as well. That could be something to fuel us to continue up to at least try to attempt that one, the 1150. But something I want to keep on watch. UPST, it's starting to sell off a little bit. It's looking like it's breaking back down into the wedge here. I want to see if we can hold 100 again. I want to try to grab a position if it does. I definitely don't want to breaking that 100 and heading lower. That's going to be a bigger concern if that does happen. So I want to keep that on watch. Shop, again, another big one I want to keep on watch. Now that it's starting to sell back off, will it hold? That 678 has been holding that. So that's the causing concern. Can it continue to hold that, or will we start selling more? Is this just a higher low in the grand scheme of things, and we're just continue to head lower? Is what we're trying to determine if this is really going to stick or not. And you have to be very agile in this current market. Now, as far as some others tomorrow, Roblox, still keeping this on watch. At this point, I'm kind of looking to see if where these are going to try to come down to. 45 could be potential right here. We don't want it to break below essentially that 45 mark. If we do, then we have this other support at roughly around the 41 mark for another entry there. I think we could hit 41 and then continue to start ripping back up again. There's been a lot of consolidation, a lot of these wide ranges. So just keep that in mind. You could even try to capture again the 46 and try to ride it back up to the 52. But again, you at least have that. This is why I like supply and demand zones, because you can at least throw that stop right underneath there. You know clearly where you're supposed to stop out at. But as far as that, I'm trying to look and see, there's a lot of things are kind of in a bad place. And so I guess what I really want to do is to leave this video off saying that, not every day has to be a day to trade. Not every day you have to have a stock picker or start chasing momentum stocks, because a lot of different times it's better to just be patient and wait for your setup. When you have your setup, right, you go bigger in those positions that you trust better positions, better setup when it is your setup. When you can identify your setup and wait for that to play out, as opposed to trying to take positions, especially in this market, and getting chopped up left and right and not making any progress. It's better to just sit out and wait for your setup. And then when you see your setup, you take it. And so that's why I play a lot of the same ones. And you go back to Tesla, right? Going into this move, even these massive moves down. If it's Tesla and it's making these massive moves down like this, where legs are good, like probably, I don't know, what is that percentage wise? Tesla goes 15% down in one day. This thing is going to rip back up. I did capture this at the 700, and I stopped out at the 800, so I got a 100-point move there. Did not re-enter the 750. I thought we were going lower. But if you could have grabbed this here, right, you're looking for another move, and this is something to keep in mind. It's even a mental note for myself. But even there's another 10% move down in 2 days. Find solid support, grab it, and then ride it back up. And this is why it's good to have good name stocks, right, that you play all the time. Like when you see moves like this, you wait for moves like this. Okay, well, Tesla is sold for 2 days straight, 10%. I mean, this was all in one day. That was within about 2 days. But when it starts holding supports, you can start seeing it holding, and then you grab it and you write it back up from that point. But ultimately, I mean, it doesn't always play out that way, and you won't always take the position, even as many times as you've had. But Tesla has a lot of good setups. You definitely have to watch. It's one that I do like that has a lot of setups. I've played it so many different times that if you need to become familiar with certain stocks that you like to trade, that you've experienced and you like to trade, and then just being patient with it. And again, with Tesla, I remember this wedge playing out. I played this wedge here. I mean, you can clearly see in the wedge building up after day after day. It's just being patient till it gets to that point. And then when you keep hitting the same spot here on this base and it holding, especially if you get any kind of momentum really hard to the downside, and then it just holds and wicks and it continues to just wick for a couple hours on end, normally that's a solid support. And then normally you can catch it and ride it at least up to the trend. And like I've said, if if you have multiple contracts or multiple shares, sell some shares and then continue to try to ride some out to get a break over and get another wedge here. Same thing, break. You got a couple day wedge and another one break. So I'm kind of looking to see that for the rest of these, but definitely something to keep an eye on, and why, again, I play the same ones over and over because you become very familiar with the way they move, the way they act, and then you can depict when is a good time, when is your setup with that stock. So that being said, I will keep it there, and until next time, we'll see you guys.